Hello, I am going to be explaining in today's video how to multiply complex numbers. Okay, so let's start with the basics. So a complex number is an imaginary number, and we can describe this number as a variable, and that variable we're going to be using is I. So what is I? So in the terms of math, I is actually the square root of -1. Can you square -1? No. If you put that in your calculator, it's going to give you an error. You can't square root -1. Nothing squared is equal to -1. So we use I. So I is equal to the square root of -1. So what's I squared? If I is equal to the square root of -1, I squared should be the square root of -1 squared. So I squared theoretically should be -1. And that is correct. I squared is -1. Let's add negative right here. So I squared is -1. Okay, so what is I cubed? Erase all this for a second. So I cubed theoretically should be I squared, which is -1, times I. So I cubed is nothing but I squared times I. And what is I squared? It is -1. What is I? It is just I, or the square root of -1. -1 times I is -I. So I cubed is -I. Okay, simple enough. And let's keep going, let's keep going. So now what is I to the fourth? I to the fourth is nothing but I squared times I squared, correct? And I squared is -1. So -1 times -1 is basically the operation you're doing. This is a 1, by the way, not a -I. So -1 times -1 is just 1. So I to the fourth is just 1. Now that we know the basic complex numbers based on I, we can go ahead and multiply some complex numbers. So let me erase this really quickly. The eraser on this whiteboard takes quite a while. You're gonna have to get used to that. So let's multiply some complex numbers now. So let's do an easy one. Let's do 3i times 8i. That's an 8i, my bad. Okay. So what is 3 times 8? That is 24. What is I times I? I squared. So your answer is 24 I squared. But wait. What is I squared? -1. So you're basically doing 24 times -1. And 24 times -1 is equal to -24. So the simplified answer is actually -24. Let's make it a little bit harder. So let me clear this really quick. Be sure to memorize this. You can take a screenshot of that if you want. It's not that difficult. So you can memorize these four. Just clear this. Clear it. Okay. So now let's do some more complex ones. Let's do 3 plus ai times -3 minus 4. And when you're putting -3i minus 4, it would just be -4 minus 3i. the form for this is supposed to be a plus b I. This is the standard form for complex numbers. So it would be 3 plus ai times negative 4 minus 3i. They will give you this form on any tests or questions that you have. They'll do it in this form. Okay, anyway, if you know how to multiply by FOIL, you'll just use FOIL for this one. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Negative 12, we put that down here. Now, 3 times negative 3i would just be negative 9i. 8i times negative 4 is just negative 32i. And 8i times negative 3i is negative 24i squared. I times I is I squared, so it would be negative 24i squared. But I squared is negative 1. And negative 1 times negative 24 is positive 24. So it just leave you with negative 12 minus 9i minus 32i plus 24. This simplified would be 12 minus 41i. Negative 9i minus 32i is negative 41i. This simplified is 12 minus 41i. And that's it. That's how you basically multiply complex numbers. Sometimes they're a little bit harder. We'll go over some of those in the next video. But I hope you learned something from this. Thank you for watching.